Hey guys, Tekify, and today I've got a slightly different video for you guys. And you may already notice I'm sat the other way around to normal because I'm at my computer for a gaming mouse tier list of 2020. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen these tier list videos where you rank something S, A, B, C or D or whatever you name the categories, and I'm going to be doing that with all the mice I've reviewed this year. If you do enjoy the video, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're closing in fast on 3,000 subscribers and we're trying to get there by the end of the year. So make sure you subscribe if you enjoy the video, but obviously you got to watch it first. So guys, let's get into this. So I'm going to get right into it, and first of all is... Oh, why is this wrong? Oh, they've reset the order. So while this isn't the most serious video I've ever made, I am actually going to give my honest opinions of where I think these mice should be. So if you disagree with my list, please let me know in the comments, and I'd love to see what you guys think. I'm going to do these in the order I reviewed them. So first up is this SteelSeries Rival 3. Now I look back at that video and it's not the best video I've ever made, but it is a pretty solid mouse for $30. So if we're taking in value for money as a main factor here, then I'd say it has to be a B or a C. I think I'm going to put it as C because, especially since then, things as we get onto the Viper Mini just do offer better value for money. But if you want a $30 mouse, it's got some cool RGB and overall it's fairly solid. There's nothing fundamentally that's really wrong with it, and I think it's just a solid package overall for a budget mouse. Next up is the Logitech G203 Lightsync. Now, I personally don't like the shape of this mouse. I feel if you're a fingertip user, then you can be probably maybe comfortable with it. I don't usually fingertip. However, for me, even as a claw user, and definitely if you're a palm user, you're not really going to have any chance with this mouse. Although it's on sale at the moment, you can get it for about £20, $30. When it came out at £40 or $40, as it may go back up to in price, it's really not worth that. Yes, it has a good sensor, but it just has a rubber cable and there's nothing exceptional about it. So I think personally I'm going to have to put it in D. Maybe some of you Logitech fans will disagree with me there, but I don't think it's that great in all honesty. Next up, the Razer Viper Mini. Now this made it into my top 5 mice of 2020. And I think because especially now when it's on sale for about $30, £30, even at $40, it's a great mouse. It's just 61 grams, which is super light. It's not even got honeycomb design, so it's really solid. The build quality is exceptional. It does have RGB. While it's only one zone, that doesn't really matter. You get optical switches, which have been improved in later models. And the sensor, there's a firmware update which fixes my one issue, or supposedly it fixes, of the lift-off distance. So I think the Razer Viper Mini is a great value for money mouse, and I think based on that, it has to be A. I think if you're looking to buy a mouse and you want a solid gaming mouse, yes, it is fairly small, and you're only looking to spend about $30 or $40, then I don't think you can really go wrong with the Razer Viper Mini. Next up is the Logitech G502 Lightspeed. Now everybody knows this is an S tier mouse. We don't really need to say much more about it. The Logitech G502 has the best shape and it's just perfect in every way. But in all seriousness, from a feature perspective, it is quite a good mouse. You do have a lot of great features. It's just heavy and that shape isn't great for FPS games in my opinion, and it's just lacking quite a lot for the high price it is. I mean, I think it still retails on Logitech's website for $150, which is absurd. If you're a casual gamer and you want a wireless mouse and you don't mind it being a bit heavier, you just want something that's going to be comfortable and you're just using your computer in general and playing some casual games, then I think it's okay. But I think with the price they're charging for it and what it offers, and to most people who are going to be watching my channel who like these lighter weight mice for FPS gaming, I don't think the Logitech G502 Lightspeed is all there. I would like to go back and reword my review, to be honest, because I look back at it now and I'm not too happy with the way I worded things. I gave it quite a positive review, and that's because categorically it's quite good. It has a good sensor, the clicks are fine, everything works, but for most people I don't think you're going to want to buy the G502 Lightspeed in any scenario. Next up is the HK Gaming Mirror S. So this is one of HK Gaming's first mice, and it was really light and it did have some good build quality, but it just was lacking in some ways. Because they charged, I think it was $50 for it, or yeah, I think it was $50. So compared to other mice you can get for $50, I think it's just lacking a bit. The shape wasn't amazing, but if you're a fingertip user or you've got fairly small hands and you're a claw user, I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's that bad of a mouse. I just think the feet and cable could have just been that bit better. The clicks, I personally didn't like the feel of too much, but they were okay. There was nothing wrong with them. I just think it's not all there for the value for money. apart from that, I think it's a fairly solid mouse. If it was $40, I think it'd put up a great competition with the Razer Viper Mini personally, but that extra price point just really makes it not that great of a mouse. As for the glorious Model D-, mine broke and so did some other YouTubers. It really does have some build quality issues and quality control issues. I don't know if they've got any better or not, but I don't think it's great overall. In fact, I gave away one in that video and the guy I sent it to had his side buttons break, so overall I'm going to have to put it in D because it's a Model D and that's where it belongs. And ultimately, while it does have a lot of potential to be a good mouse, it's that build quality really just makes it go from okay value for money and okay for what you're paying for to really not worth it in my opinion. If Glorious got their quality control together, I think they have a lot more potential to make some really great mice. Next up is the Endgame Gear Xm1. Now, I didn't actually do a review of the Xm1 itself, I did a review of the Xm1 RGB, which is next, but I had to buy myself an Xm1 because I love the shape of it. It's really great if you're a claw user. I actually have it on my desk right now. It's, I'd say, my main mouse. I think you just get one of the best out-of-the-box experiences on a stock mouse. You get great, amazing feet, the cable's amazing, and I think even at $60, it just is a great value for money. I wish they'd make a smaller version, which everyone thought they were going to do with the mouse they were teasing, and they released the XM1R, which I am excited for, don't get me wrong. It does have some great features and really improves its value for money even further. But I'm really excited for Endgame to release either a wireless mouse or a mini version. I think that'd be really good, especially with me, I have pretty small hands. That being said, the XM1 is almost perfect out of the box, so it has to be an S tier mouse for me. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I don't think anything really competes with it in that sense. Even at $60, I think it's just incredible value for money. The XM1 RGB, obviously you maintain the great shape, the great cable, the great feet, and you even get KL switches which feel even nicer than the ones on the stock XM1. But because of the RGB, it adds an extra 12 grams, and realistically from a performance standpoint, unless you want a heavier mouse, you're having a little bit of RGB, which does look cool, don't get me wrong, but you're reducing the performance of the mouse quite a lot and you're having to pay more for it. So while it is a good mouse, I don't see any reason why you'd buy the XM1 RGB over the standard XM1. Like I said, unless RGB is more important to you than performance or a lightweight, which maybe get your priorities straight. I don't know. Now, next is the Razer DeathAdder Essential. I call this mouse a joke in my video. I've done some comparisons, and the review of the DeathAdder Essential has more dislikes than likes, and I don't know why so many people like it. It's maybe I was a bit harsh on it, maybe I wasn't. I've given it its own category. It's DeathAdder Essential is the DeathAdder Essential. I just think even at $30 when it's on sale, it's got nothing on the Rival 3, nothing on the Razer Viper Mini at all. It's just not a good mouse. You get really poor feet, lots of pre-travel and post-travel. It's 96 grams and it's big, but obviously if you're a palm user and you like a bigger, heavier mouse, then that's fine. But the cable is really stiff, the scroll wheel didn't perform. Overall, I just don't think it's a very good mouse. There's been so many great mice released recently, and I don't think the DeathAdder Essential has a place on the market anymore. Obviously, this mouse wasn't released this year, it was released a couple of years ago, so it doesn't really fit with these, as this is supposed to be a 2020 tier list, but it's one I reviewed this year, and I definitely think I should include it, but it is going in its own category of DeathAdder Essential. Next is the SteelSeries Rival 3 Wireless. So, this is an interesting one, because it's not amazing, but it's also not that bad. I'm actually going to put it, I'm stuck between B or C here, because it does have a better sensor than the Rival 3, so it has a pretty good sensor. It's only $50, that 400 hours of battery life is amazing. I think if your main use for this mouse isn't gaming or it's not that important to you, then I think it would be a really good mouse, because $50 you get a nice subtle mouse you could take to work, you can use it on Bluetooth or 2.4 GHz, and it performs reasonably well. But if you want to game on it, I think even if you want a wireless mouse, I don't think it's the one you'd buy. It's quite back heavy, and overall it just doesn't feel super nice to game on. Next is the Roka or Rocket Burst Pro, which did also make it into my top 5 mice of 2020, and that automatically should make it a B or an S, and I'm going to put it in A. I think it is a great mouse. I just don't think it's super exceptional, if that makes sense. Out of the box you get great feet, a good cable, you get some nice optical switches, and it just performs really well. However, what does it do that the Xm1 doesn't do? Nothing, and the shape isn't quite as good in my opinion, and therefore I think I'm going to have to put it slightly below in A tier. There's not really much more to say about that. It's an absolutely brilliant mouse, it's just not exceptional. If you knock $10 off it, I think it's brilliant, and I'd then put it as an S tier, but for $60, it's going to have to be A. Next up is the HyperX Pulsefire Haste. Now, if you watched my top 5 mice of 2020, which you should definitely go watch after this video, you'll know that this placed particularly well, and I think I'm going to have to put it as a S tier mouse. It's super lightweight, really solid build quality, really good features, and it's just $50 even if it's not on sale or anything, and I think that's absolutely amazing. I was really surprised HyperX released such a good mouse. I really wasn't expecting it, but the feet was amazing, the cable was amazing, the sensor could have been a bit better, but it did the job for $50, and the lightweight and the build quality they managed to maintain with that was exceptional, so I was really impressed by the Pulsefire Haste. Now onto the last 3 mice. The SteelSeries Aerox 3 is not a good mouse. It's really not a good mouse. What are they charging for this? $60, and what do you get? You get a bad cable, you get bad feet, you get poor build quality, an absolutely terrible sensor for the price. I think this has got to go with the Razer DeathAdder Essential. I don't think anybody should buy the SteelSeries Aerox 3 wired. I've heard some good things about the wireless version. You get a better sensor like in the Rival 3 wireless, and obviously the cable is less of a factor, and apparently the feet do get a bit better over time. I'm not sure if that's true, but ultimately the wired version, for the price they're charging, when you can get the Pulsefire Haste, you can get the Viper Mini for less money, why would you buy the Aerox 3? In what scenario? I don't understand. When you make a product, why can you not just give it to some people within the company and tell them, take it home, play games on it, let your kids play games on it, use it for a day, a couple of hours, and just have a go with it. And they can go, no, this is not good. We should not release this mouse. But SteelSeries know what they're doing, I guess. If they can build it cheap and sell it for a higher price, it's going to sell anyway. They're a big company, a lot of people like them, but it was just really disappointing, and I'm a lot less excited for future SteelSeries products now. Next up is the Rocket Burst Core. So this does have the same shape as the Burst Pro, which is a good thing, because while I said that shape isn't as good as the Xm1, it's still a good shape. You actually get some good optical clicks, and for $30 the feet aren't bad. The cable is a normal rubber cable, so there's nothing particularly wrong with it. The sensor does let it down quite a lot. It's worse than the one in the Rival 3. So for that I'm going to have to put it in D. It's a bit of a shame because I think it had a lot of great potential. Everything about it was good, but the high lift-off distance of the sensor really, for me personally, made it unusable, even though it's lighter weight than the Rival 3. And then compared to something like the Viper Mini, if you wouldn't spend a bit extra, or the Viper Mini's on sale, it gets absolutely clowned on by the Viper Mini. So as much as I gave it a fairly positive review, and it is a great value for money mouse, you don't actually get as much for your $30 as you do with other mice at the price, so that's why it's ranked below them. However, it's really not that bad. Finally, for the Xtrfy M42, another mouse that made it into my top 5 mice of 2020. And I would put this in S tier. I've actually got this mouse on my desk as well. I'm considering maining it. I think one reason I haven't mained it yet is because I bought it in blue. So as cool as it looks by itself, it doesn't look cool with anything else. If I bought it in black, it might be my main mouse right now, as stupid as that sounds. But the only issue with it is the cable, so I'm going to put it in A. This cable isn't bad, it's fine, but it's nowhere near as good as the Xm1 or Pulsefire Haste, or even the Burst Pro in my opinion. So for that same price point, I think you just get a slightly worse out of the box experience. However, obviously the interchangeable shells do really help this mouse a lot. Those two shapes give it a lot more customizability and going to make it fit for a lot more people, so I can recommend it a lot easier because there's simply a higher probability you'll like the mouse as there's two shapes. So that's all the mice I reviewed in 2020. You can go try out this tier list for yourself. I'll leave the link in the description, and let me know how you do it differently. I'm really excited to see what mice get released in 2020, but that's it for this year. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you can get yourself some merch and look as cool as me at tekify.co.uk/merch. For your next video, go check out the top 5 mice of 2020, or just the whole mouse playlist where you can see all the mice I've reviewed and see if any interest you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.